There we go. How's it going, Crescent Cat? Thanks for joining. Hopefully it's looking alright. It's the first game I think I've got that's like, you know, not ultra wide, so hopefully the stream's alright. There's lots of talking in this, like the character talks a lot, so I'll try not to talk. Hey Big Ed, nah, not at all. I thought it was, but it's not.
And I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna start at the beginning with the house.
It's like a walking simulator, to be honest, but it's such
Someone
a
had
good
put up a
story.
chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it. My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
It's like low action, but it's just so it's really.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't
Yeah, it's
allowed
just
inside
really good.
half the rooms.
Do have to do a couple of the achievements though, so I'll do them, but it's dead. Nothing's out of the way really.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
This is as fast as I can walk as well.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
But no, it's pretty good. I like the story. Good voice acting. It's only like 2 hours, 2.5 hours as well for the whole game, so it's pretty quick.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Say early mid-20s. Yeah.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Reminds me of the house out of Harry Potter,
The house
like the
was
Weasley's
exactly
house.
like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Yeah. It's just like, just keep building.
Now, as a 17-year-old,
There
I
you go,
knew
17.
exactly what those words were.
Answered it for
I
you
was
again.
afraid of the house.
She knew.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
I hope it's not too dark for you guys. It's just like the lights shining on my face just blind me sometimes. Is it a doggy door?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. power had been turned off the night we left.
I like this, I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, the tennis ball hanging from a rope so you know how far to pull your car in. I used to do it with the, like, you know, like the roller doors when they've got the emergency release. It kind of like hangs down. You used to just, you know, you used to just be in the perfect position.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Loving memory, Lewis Finch, 7/27/1988, November 21st, 2010. Love brother to Edith, son of Dawn, great grandson to Edie. Memorial service, Finch Family Cemetery.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
I thought it was something floating. Is that like a water purifier or something? See if you're living out in the sticks.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
Cool and cluttered house, like Mrs. loves all this kind of like books and shit.
It was like a bomb had gone off. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Like, this room's so cozy.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
It's creepy. The old Bigfoot shadow.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
I wonder if that's true. Is there anything over here, or is that the kitchen? Oh, that's the kitchen, yeah.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
It's pretty messed up.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had
Yeah,
peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
So that's why there's all the rooms. It's because they kind of like, you know, if you pass away, you they just kind of like leave it as it is.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Yeah, I thought this game was going to be a scary game, and oh my god, I was just waiting for something to jump out at me this whole time, but then, you know, I realized it's not a scary game at all.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Yeah, it really is. Like, so I got onto this game because of, so I was going about the Outer Wilds. Not the Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds is that, you know, Fallout New Vegas clone, made by Obsidian. But, yeah, Outer Wilds is pretty sick. It's so good, but I can't play it again because you learn everything.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
You learn everything about that game. It's all player knowledge, so you can't really replay it again. It just doesn't have the same charm. I've done the DLC as well, so hopefully they come out with something else.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it. Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
It's like this room's been like that since 1947. A bit cleaner than you'd think it would be.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
So yeah, I'm moving that with the mouse. It's a cool little.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
He's the most, the weirdest way to have a lock, like to lock your door.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Was that like half a carrot or something?
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Give me food.
My Halloween candy was all gone. I kept eating and eating.
Toothpaste.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Yeah, this part reminded me, like, my boy woke up this morning at like, fucking hell, like 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. Just like, Mum, hungry. Dad, I'm hungry. We fed him. He's just always hungry.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
We're now a cat.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Yeah, I don't even know if they were real fucking, like, berries or something. Like, you're clearly fake. You know, you've tried to eat, like my auntie used to have, like, a fruit bowl on her table, like, fake fruit. But it was, like, real squishy, so it was, like, the texture was there.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
How dare they? Yeah. Like the polystyrene stuff as well. I was so careful when I did this first time. I thought I could fall off. I don't think you can.
The babies were all gone.
Ooh, just made it. Up there.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Got him. Assassin's Creed the bird, yeah, get right up the top. Ready?
I could tell she was getting really
I
tired.
wanted to jump on him.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up,
Got him.
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Where? There's an achievement to get to.
Rabbits.
I think if I dive down one more time, hopefully I get it.
I imagined his
Achieve.
face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit.
Reminds me a little
Then
bit
I
of
flew off to find something bigger.
what's it called? It's a lemony snicket.
A mama rabbit.
There we go.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
This game is so weird.
I rolled off a cliff and into the
Smack him.
ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Dun.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Alrighty.
straw for a flipper, and it tasted really good. Grabbed on tight, but I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Tentacle.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Oh. Bad day to be this guy. Nah, it's not a horror game at all. It's just weird. This is probably the most horror-esque part of the game, I think.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Alright, we need to wait for this guy to sing his song.
Belly with a rusty razor, his belly with a rusty razor, his belly with a rusty razor, in the morning. What shall we do with a drunken sailor?
Some Sea Thieves stuff.
With a drunken sailor, what shall we do with a drunken sailor? Put him in bed with the captain's daughter, put him in bed with the captain's daughter, put him in bed with what shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Struck with a longbow too. Struck with a longbow too. What shall we do with a drunken sailor?
Just waiting for him to finish his song, so there's an achievement for it.
Put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe, put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe, put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe, what shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a
I've never seen anyone slur their words as much as he does.
He-ho, she rises, he-ho, she rises, he-ho, she rises in the morning.
Nice, there we go. Bad day to be him.
Passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
This climbing out of your toilet. Hello.
I got closer and closer.
Did I raise it? I haven't touched it. Oh, my toilet.
all my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Spooky. Now we're back in the present.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors. I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Under the bed.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
What do you reckon with that story? What happened to Molly?
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Dad's just like the the stubborn grandma.
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
One of the logistics of getting that house on that boat in 1937. Well, it doesn't look small. I don't know.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Johan was your granddad's name. It's a cool name. I've found out recently that we've got like Scandinavian.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
I'm assuming similar with like a name like Johan. Oh, yeah, it's just the door for the people. Yeah, apparently like one third, like Scandinavian of some sort. Probably where the height comes from.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
What's that one? Is it just that? Get a sponge bath.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
This kind of shit is just like a childhood dream of like finding little tunnels in your house.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
The Milton painting. So this is the room where the guy had to share the room with. Oh fuck, that's sad. Just the measurements just stop.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be
Who
afraid
puts a
of
swing
him.
this close to the fucking
And he wasn't.
cliff?
I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
I didn't even watch a trailer or anything.
Dinner's ready.
Someone said, you know, play this game.
But that day, he finally made up his
it
mind
was on
to
sale for
do
like
it.
$4. I think it's actually.
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
We'll get butterflies.
Not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
You did it.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Yeah. It's very sad. It's a very sad game, but it's very, I don't know, just different and cool.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Oh, that's just sad. Like, just. Do you have his calendar? Do you have a calendar?
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Oh, there you go. want that book. That way.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Got this one first.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
3D glasses? Jeez, haven't seen them for a while. What's that cake made out of? How long's this been here for? Upstream.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened
I think this
for
part's
Rick,
so cool.
but the house was silent.
It's like in the book. Drip, like just the Halloween theme.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
And look at the pillows off the table. That's an achievement. Nice guy. Blood from hand.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
settled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused.
How did he get down there?
She
For
threw
us.
him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter. Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
Molly's room.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Run faster. Where did he go?
Man had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Yeah, time flies in this game, I swear. Thanks for sticking around, dude.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
So what did we learn? Maybe we can go to the basement. I guess we can't barge out the doors because they've all been sealed up. Was another door.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Keep wandering. A key.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
I love the way the environments are crafted. Like, it feels like, you know, you're just going through someone's house. Like, everything's like, you know, just the little things, the details.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Secret door in a fridge.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
76.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stop.
2005.
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
I don't know if I could do 30 years in there. Like 30 minutes of drive.
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin.
In about of a days though.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate
Been living
all
under
of
the
it,
house for 30
especially
years.
the food.
This has been afraid of what was going on. Didn't know if
I don't mind if I
it's like
only
a
have a
monster
year
or
left,
something.
or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Or the train.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
It's insane. So she was living there for 6 years and he was living under here. The mole man.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made,
Hopefully the train doesn't get
trying
us.
to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Well, ads in 50 seconds. I'll just I'll do them now. On a quick break and then we'll come back. Welcome back. Yeah, we're back. So yeah, we've just picking up exactly where we just dropped off then.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Yeah, those tuning in now. It's very heavy story game. Very, I'd say, yeah, it's just heavy story.
But I
This
thought
is
you
as
should
fast
know
as I
about
can
your
walk.
family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
It's good because all the words kind of direct you where to go.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
And just these little things like, you know, I've got to pull backwards to lift that up and then push the gate.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Cool black.
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
That is a good question. Is this a real island? Like, it's called Orcas Island. I think in Washington State. Interesting if it is.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
So I don't know how Molly died. Maybe it was food poisoning. Maybe she just died from hunger. I don't know. 'Cause it feels like her story was like a dream, I would think. But then again, she wrote the book, so I don't know. Obviously, he was trying to be a spaceman. Yeah, Shan's the man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty very chill. Not like other high octane gaming gamers. Just at the cemetery, the family cemetery. So anyone in the family lives in the house. You can't see because of all the trees, but and then yeah, the cemetery here. It's Walter's bit of stone block he chipped out from the bunker. And then Barbara's just got a star.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
That's the old house is on floating. Am I dumb? Where do I go? Back here. You look through the hole in Walter's stone.
Edie's side
Yeah,
was always
it's
easier
got
for me to understand.
a quick look, see, and we'll go that way. That's as much as I can look. Oh, yes I can. That's so cool. It's like a little diorama. Reminds me of like Sea of Thieves. I've screenshotted that. That can be a background of some sort. So I wonder if anyone can interact with any of the others. Go this way. Slowly walk our way up the hill. Bang Yui.
But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
With Gregory, Sam, and Gus Finch. Milton Finch. I don't know if Milton's died. Said he was run away at the start. Or disappeared. Sanjay Kumar.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Lewis. Oh,
We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
fair enough.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now,
It's a cool treehouse.
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
That's right, she's preggers. I don't know if anyone would be climbing up here when you're 22 weeks pregnant. Holy shit.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
It's like a log cabin. Wish it was daytime.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
So blurry. What it looks like without glasses. No, not that bad.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hmm.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn!
Set the timer.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so...
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Dangers of hunting.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most told me.
So I'm just checking the stream. The audio just glitched for me. I don't know if it did for you guys, but seems to be good now. Give me my Finch hunting rifle.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something. After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
This is where the heartstrings start getting pulled. Because there is a baby cot there. Baby cot as opposed to an adult cot.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
That one's the saddest, I think. Yeah, well, shit. Yeah, exactly. Gonna get the tissues.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
I thought someone was standing there as the monument.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Look at all these chickens.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
The waves are kicking up a storm. I wish that. Yeah, it's really good to look at. Big fan of the old cartoony graphics.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Yeah, this is one of the games you can only really play once or twice. So I'm only playing it twice to get through all the achievements. I think I've only got oh, I've got them all. Got them all now. Why is Dawn's bed empty? We'll find out in 3 seconds.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
So Mum's Dawn.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
I don't think Dawn has a story.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
Now we're on to the Weasley part of the house.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
This is where they went to homeschool. Lewis rules.
But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
The music.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Yeah, the details are so good. They're just like, so much heart and soul went into it.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
So he painted a door. He got a magic paintbrush and painted a door. This thing is like, so Edie does a lot of Edie's the great grandma, I think. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, or grandma, one of them. And so she's, makes lots of stories and all this kind of stuff. So, does he have a magic paintbrush? Did he paint himself? How do we get down? Like that.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Like, there's a door right there. Did he walk through it? If he had a magic paintbrush. Or did he run away?
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
That's the weed, bro. Lewis's story is probably the... I don't know. hits the hardest, I think.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
It's so tricky because you've got to cut the fish, control the dude on the left.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
That's such a good way to show that you're dreaming, doing like monotonous
Then something
tasks.
moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. And he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Token. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Like how slowly it takes over.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished.
Oh, the red cup, bro.
He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Can't let the fish pile up.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
I never thought of that.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
handsome queen.
Handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
sinister serpents.
Sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Dude's
He
playing
knew the
OSRS.
world was all in his imagination.
It's old school RuneScape. Keep on the fish, too many fish.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Well, this is all in his mind whilst he's working his day job in the cannery.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Now we're at the cannery.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Which one looks better?
The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. Queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
It's pretty fucked up, hey?
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Like, he pretty much hated life that much that, you know, he made this make-believe thing. Or he used his imagination and, you know, that got him killed. I think Gregory's is sad because he's a baby, but
My mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
I think Lewis is more relatable to a lot of people.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Is it in the fridge? I'm hungry.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Now we finally go up to Edith's room.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
It is some crazy cursed family shit. Oh, the lights are off. You can see
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories! I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Street of the Finches by Edith Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but But there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
– 2016.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Hey, Ice. You just missed it. Like, we literally just finished it. Like, I've modded it though. I'll put it up on thingy. Or just go play it. I think it's on sale right now. But just have like a box of tissues next to you. And then stream it so I can see your reactions. Yeah, that's the game, guys. It's I think it's pretty cool. It's very short game. It's more of an experience than a game. You don't really game anything. It's just a walking simulator, story simulator. But yeah. Gregory and what's his name? Lewis got to me. Just not sure what happened to Milton or even Molly. Like, but yeah, definitely an experience. Yeah, this is finished. It's not a very, it's pretty short. I think it's only like, the stream's only been going for 2 hours. Yeah, very short. Very, I think short and detailed and pretty, well, I enjoyed it when I played it the first time. I only played it the first time like a week ago. Or whenever I put that message in the Discord. Still gets you though. But I'm trying to find more games like this. That are kind of just like, you know, your one and dones, you know, experience type of games. I did have I'm just trying to find it. I did let me have a look on just wishlist real quick. So I did see someone say something. What's it called? I've got a couple on my wish list. So I've got Abduction, Deliver Us the Moon, The Forgotten City. That's a mod from, I think it's Skyrim. They've made it into a full game. That's on sale at the moment, so that might be the next one. Before Your Eyes, that's the other one. And apparently, Before Your Eyes, from what I understand, is very similar kind of story kind of stuff, but it uses it it tracks your blinking, and that affects the story somehow. That's all I know about it. But hey, Dream. Welcome to the stream that just kind of is about to finish, probably. Or maybe the stream won't finish. We'll see what's going on. We'll take a quick break and then we'll see what's going on. But yeah, just finished playing the game. It's a pretty short game. I was just saying to the guys, it's very if you haven't played it, just play it, or just wait and or just go watch the Twitch VOD. It's pretty I tried to keep it very not talking a lot when, you know, stuff was going on. What we're doing next? I mean, I have been playing Monster Hunter World. See you, Transylvania. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Yeah, for tonight, might just go hunt a couple monsters in Monster Hunter, so, you know, I'm not going to bed crying or whatever. But yeah, then I think the next game in this kind of, maybe this can be Feel Good Fridays. It's just kind of find a game that's just sit back and watch, you know, it's just purely story. So I think I might have a look at that. What was it called? I'm just looking up at Steam on my phone. Before Your Eyes. It's got overwhelmingly positive reviews, but it's one of them ones they say don't look into it at all. We'll just you know, just play it and just don't read anything about it. Don't look at anything about it. Just go play it, because otherwise it'll spoil. So And apparently bring tissues for that game as well, I think. Yeah, I found it on a Reddit thread, and it was like, what are one of them games that just make you make you sad and you keep thinking about it, and that game came up. So did this, and Outer Wilds to a little bit of a degree, especially the DLC. Might give that a couple of months and play that through again, just so, because I've thankfully kind of got a shit memory, so I can play it and kind of you know, I can play it and I don't remember everything about it. I mean, I can just play it knowing that I know it and just go through it. But yeah, Ball of Porcupine Ridge, haven't finished it yet. Yeah, I think that came up as well, so I'll give that a check out as well. But yeah, so I'll run an ad now, be right back, and then just boot up Monster Hunter, and then we'll Monster Hunt until I get sick of it. We've moved to Sword and Shield, so that'll be a bit more fun. Yeah, Firewatch, definitely, that was another one where I played it, like downloaded it, played it all through in one sitting, and that was just that was good as well. It reminded me a lot of Lost, like season 1 of Lost for some reason, even though it's completely different, but yeah. Alright, I'll run this. I'll keep the music playing because this is cool music, and then we'll get into some monster hunting.